I have seen good judges and I have seen bad ones. I have appeared before them. I have helped them get confirmed. I've sat on the Judiciary Committee and worked there trying to get good ones. I know the difference between a good one and a bad one, and we need somebody in the presidency of the United States who doesn't have to call his lawyers in order to know the difference between a good judge and a bad judge. There are a variety of issues facing us today. I don't think that my friend Senator Colburn of Oklahoma will mind if I disclose a private conversation I had with him a while back. He said, you know, one of the great moral issues of this day is the fact that we're bankrupting the next generation. Now, our economy is going fine now. We've had 22 successive quarters of growth because of the tax cuts and because of the strong economy and because of the free market that we operate in, and we're thankful for that. Not enough credit is given for that and why it's coming about. But if you look down the road a little bit, we understand that all of the economists, from the left or the right, including the Comptroller of the United States, the head of the Government Accountability Office, everyone says that our path with regard to entitlement programs is unsustainable. It will not work. We're going to run out. And we are now borrowing against, and will be increasingly borrowing against the next generation. And those who are too small, or those who are yet to be born, do not have a seat at this table as we kick the can down the road and wait for somebody else to take care of the problem, when it'll be much worse and much more difficult to take care of, when those benefits for the retired people start being slashed, or those taxes are raised substantially on young working people who will be funding these programs, just as they're going out and getting married and trying to start their own family. That's not right. That is a moral issue, too, and we have to blow the whistle on this irresponsibility, and that's exactly what I intend to do. So I have talked about Social Security. People don't like to talk about things like that. Politicians don't, because it's dangerous. They say it's the third rail of politics. I've set out what I consider to be kind of a modest proposal where we could start along the line of responsibility and start doing the right things before we have to hurt anybody, instead of waiting until we have to hurt everybody, instead of waiting for this blessing of longer life to turn into a curse for the next generation. We can't do that, pit one generation against another. If you can't tell the truth, you shouldn't be running for President of the United States. We have not yet come to terms with the fact that we're in a global conflict with radical Islam. A lot of people give lip service to it. We fail to recognize that Iraq is the current front in that battle. And it's probably going to be a long battle, and we're going to have to be resolute, and we're going to have to show will. You know, a fellow by the name of Roberts wrote a book not too long ago called The History of the English-Speaking People Since 1900. There's one thing in there that stuck out to me that I remember, and that is, he says, the will of a people is at least as important as their military might in overcoming an enemy. So I look at the kind of world that we live in and think about the future, think about the country we're going to grow up in. And it's not all pessimistic. I wouldn't be here if I was pessimistic about it. But our optimism doesn't come from what we see or what we fear. You know, my daddy always told me that a man that went around with a smile on his face all the time probably just didn't know what was going on. But it doesn't come from what we see. Our optimism comes from a faith that we can do something about it, that we can do something about it. You're doing something about it. I'm going to try my best to do something about it. I'm running for President of the United States. That's what I'm going to do about it. In many respects, we're at a crossroads in this country, and will be next year when voters make a decision as to which direction we want to go in. It's going to affect our security and our prosperity and the unity that we need to go forward in this country. It's going to require leadership. It's going to require a knowledge and an understanding of our glorious past, a willingness to lead on tough issues today, and also an understanding of the greatness of America's future if we do the right thing. But while we're a great nation, we must also continue to strive to be a good nation. Of course, we must have good laws. We must do our best to stop bad laws, but we must also recognize the element of personal responsibility for every American in this country. And when we see local authorities giving birth control to 11 and 12-year-olds, we know that some values are seriously messed up in this country. Federal government can't cure everything is wrong and shouldn't even try. But we all have a pulpit. We all have a pulpit. And the greatest pulpit of them all is the presidency of the United States, and I will not be afraid to use it. Finally, my friends, every once in a while I'm asked, as others are, what would you do in your first 100 days as president? What are the circumstances going to be over a year from now? With the changing world we live in and all, it's pure speculation as to the nature of the confrontation, the challenges, both from a security standpoint and from an economic standpoint. But I shared with my wife something after I was asked that question about the second or third time. I said, I don't really know what I would do in my first 100 days. It depends on the circumstances. I know what my priorities are, and I'm talking a lot about them. But I know what I would do. I know what I would do the first hour that I was president. I would go into the Oval Office and close the door and pray for the wisdom to know what was right. And I would pray for the strength to do what is right. May God give us all that strength and wisdom to do what is right for our country. Thank you very much.